Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Welcome everyone to Spark and Change with Gigi. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone. Today's show we have a special guest, and has anyone ever made you feel like you didn't belong? Well, what if belonging was never something you had to earn, but it was part of you the whole time? My guest today embodies the truth that in every part of her journey, she's a blessing. She is a blessing to the skies for sure, but she is also a best-selling author, a heart-centered philanthropist, and a powerful advocate for the special needs community. As the founder of You Belong Foundation and a Page Awards, she made it her mission to uplift those who are too often seen and unheard. Beyond her accomplishments is a mother raising two beautiful children with disabilities whose strength, grace, and love have fueled a movement of belonging. It is my absolute honor to welcome a radiant and resilient Wendy Cunningham Barnes to Spark and Change with Gigi. Wendy, welcome, and I'm so grateful that you're here.
I'm so grateful to be here. I think the world of you, and just to be on your show is an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, we definitely have something in common, and I think that's why, God brought us together to share the love for the work that we do. And I was a special education teacher.
Yeah.
So,
thank you for your work. I know it's a blessing.
My heart, just puts me in a special place when I'm surrounded by children who are they're shining light. They still shine their light. No matter what they are going through, they will always smile at you. So tell us a little bit about your work and what really helped, created this You Belong Foundation that is absolutely sparking change.
Yeah. So my journey started in 1999. My daughter was 13 months. We had just celebrated her first birthday, and thinking she had a cold that lasted too long, along with a high fever, we ended up at the hospital where we heard the words pneumococcal meningitis. And that meningitis devastated her brain and left her forever disabled until she passed away at 15. The work started back then as far as realizing that I needed to be her advocate. I needed to make these decisions for this baby who needs me for every aspect of her life. And understanding that my voice was not only important, but it was necessary for her to get what she needed. People will give you the advice, the diagnosis, the prescriptions of what they think because of their experience and their education, but no one knows that child like a parent. And so I had to step into it. And the work started then, and we had a healthy child, Matthew, who's amazing today. And then we had Christian. Christian is 21, and he's also special needs. And so thankfully for him, my work started years before with his sister. And I just had to figure out the management of these two totally different disabilities. What he has is called Dandy Walker. When my daughter passed in 2013 at the age of 15, I wanted to do more. I don't think you ever get over the grieving process, but once I got to a place where I could move through my grief, I wanted to do something. I wanted families to understand that you're not by yourself. We would get the stares. People would, you see them kind of whispering to each other or asking ignorant questions. And I say ignorant, not in a disrespectful way, but because people don't know what's wrong with your child. That is the worst question you can ask someone. And it started with the Page Awards. I wanted to always honor who my daughter was, who she was, what she represented, the strength, the resilience, the take that. The doctors would say this, and she'd be like, no, we're going to do this. And so this is our 8th year coming up in August with the Page Awards. But I said, I want to do more. At the Page Awards, we celebrate people with disabilities. people who are overcoming something every day in their lives that we could not understand, or people like yourself. Where would
Absolutely.
we be with our loved one without awesome teachers, therapists, doctors, right? Nurses. And that's
Absolutely.
what that space is about. But I wanted to do more. And that's where the You Belong Foundation came from. We want to make a change as far as people's accessibilities. I have often run into spaces. Both my kids were in, my oldest and my youngest were in wheelchairs. And I would find challenges trying to get in and out of spaces. Like,
Yeah.
they're not, or something as simple as a parking space. Someone parked in this space because they're only going to be a few minutes. And that's when I need the space. So I'm looking as a foundation, we are looking to make businesses and places more accessible for people. Braille menus, why you don't need a whole stack, you just need
Yeah.
someone who can come in and feel independent, feel like they can just order on their own without needing someone's help. That's a big thing, right? And
Of course, of course. And I remember those days when, when just being in front of the parent who you can see right through their eyes, through their soul to say, I need help. I
yeah,
need help because, uh,
yes,
you know, all the eyes staring at them couldn't help
right,
them, right? It's that
right.
person that said, what can we do for you?
Yeah.
To include them, to let them be part of the community. I myself was a science teacher, and I have to share this story because
Mm.
it's when you look beyond the physical body that you see,
Mhm.
that you touch their heart and soul, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I had a class full of kids who were autistic, and I had no idea how I was going to teach them. And I'm like, you know what? Just have fun with
Yeah.
them, right? And I put a white robe on them. I put goggles on them.
Ah,
And we had to, and I'll never forget. In fact, I found a piece of paper not too long ago where we had to help them identify water and land. And I
ah.
got graham crackers, and I got green icing, and I
I
got blue
love
icing, and I got squishies,
it.
and I got chocolate kisses. If any teacher's
Nice,
hearing this, you must do this exercise. It's so great.
nice.
And they put the mountains on the land, and they put the fish in
Oh,
the sea, and they had such a beautiful time. And
yeah.
it wasn't, again, it was looking beyond that disability. And then when I gave pictures to the parents, they're like, oh, we've never seen anyone
Oh,
ever do that, right? And
yeah.
that was the joy that I felt from
Yes.
just doing something from the heart without looking
Yeah.
at what's going on in their life, and treating
Yeah.
them as they belong with the rest of the group.
And
And
that's what we do with other people. You meet
yeah,
people who are not disabled, but they're different than you. Or they
yes,
may have an accent, or they may, I don't know, wear their hair. Just you're constantly around people who are different. And like you said, you've just figured out. It doesn't matter how this person's hair or makeup or height or whatever is. You look past that and,
it's
and
the
you see from,
uniqueness.
yeah, we're all unique. And
Yes,
like you
yes.
said, let's just have fun. Who doesn't want to have fun?
Who doesn't want to have fun?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I say we all have different fingerprints for a reason, right?
Yes, yes,
And to acknowledge our and that's really what makes us a community of diversified, where we
yes,
can learn from each other.
yes.
Because if we were all the same and we all look the same, how boring would it
How
be?
boring would that be? Right. That would be,
So
I don't know if the world is ready for more than one of Wendy.
it's okay. The more of you we have, the better, because
But
we're
it's true when
advocating.
you look past someone's difference, you make them feel special. You make them feel important, that they matter.
Mhm.
Whatever you do. And people make mistakes. I make mistakes. Just because I have two kids with disabilities don't mean that I understand all disabilities, and I will make a mistake. But my heart is there, and people can feel the heart, especially someone with an intellectual or mental disability. They don't know how to hide the shine, that light that you said you see in the kids.
Oh
It
yeah,
just comes out,
that's right.
right?
That's
And
right.
to have that blessing of being in a space with someone with a disability, if you haven't had the chance, it's a special space. You cannot describe it, but you leave feeling this is a
Uh,
good world. This
heartful,
is good.
heartful,
Yeah.
compassionate, and joy
Yes.
to to watch and see that they're so non-judgmental. They
Yes.
don't see black and white. They see one color. They
Yeah.
see unity, right? There's no separation in their
Yeah.
minds, and that's the beauty of life. So
Yes.
they bring a whole
Lots to
different,
learn from the community. Lots to learn.
oh, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
we gain so many life lessons, right?
Hmm. Yes.
It's compassionate, it's patience, it's
Yeah.
just so inspiring to know that the hope that they bring, like they bring
Yeah.
people together,
They
like,
do.
right? I mean, talk about a
They
little bit
do.
about your foundation and the work that you're doing as far as like supporting the parents to make them feel like they
Yeah.
belong.
I get calls all the time from people just when I'm ready to quit again. I'll get a call from someone who says, I need help. And I may not have the answer. Many times I don't have the answer, but I have the ear and the heart to listen,
Yes,
which is, that's
that's all
just
you
the
need.
beginning, right? Like, tell me about you. Tell me how you are taking care of yourself. The You Belong Foundation, there's so much to be done,
Hmm.
fortunately and unfortunately, right? And the accessibility is huge for me because I've lived it. We've been asked to leave a movie theater because someone was uncomfortable with Christian. So I said, I'll show you. We're gonna have our own movie day. And you bring anybody and everybody you want to. And if someone wants to get loud, it's okay. It's that we're together in this space,
That's
right?
so beautiful because you could have been on the other opposite of the coin and
Yeah.
got angry and mad and
Oh, I got mad, honey. Don't.
no, but you got mad, but you did something
Yeah,
that changed the feeling of no, we belong here. Like you
exactly.
took a stand
Yeah.
and not just get mad and walk
Yeah.
away,
Right.
right? You
Yeah.
took it to the next level where you
Yeah.
said, no, 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 no.
And the key was
Yeah.
the person who complained, I never saw who that was. The manager was in his early 20s, maybe. And he's nervous. He's like, I have the situation, and the way I know to handle it is to ask the people to leave. And I thought to myself, number one, my oldest son is sitting there looking. I cannot teach him to get angry and yell and berate. This young man is nervous. And as mad as I am about the situation, this is
Yeah.
the point that I can teach. And I told him, we belong here. And he said, well, I can give you tickets to come back again. I said, well, honey, I don't know if you noticed, but he doesn't have a cold. If we came back, he'll be the same. So I'm giving you the power. Whatever you say is fine. If you really want us to leave, we will leave. And I won't give you any problems, but I'm going to need your number, the manager. I'm going to need someone in corporate. I need you to find the legal department so I know where to send my complaint to, because that would be considered discrimination. Now, if that other person complains again, I would recommend, you don't have to take my advice, but I would recommend you give them tickets to come back another time, because he stood there long enough to see that Christian was not being disruptive to the movie. And he's shaking. I said, I'm so serious. You tell me what it is you want me to do, and I promise you that's what I'm going to do. He goes, okay, but if someone complains again, I said, I'll be right there in the front. You'll see me. Come get me. We'll talk again. And he didn't make us leave, but I
Right.
was very angry that someone would see someone as precious as my Christian, who's making every now and then a small baby noise. I know how to remove my child if he gets loud. And that made them angry. We're at a kids movie during the day. And I said, I have to teach this young man, because I don't want the next person. It takes a lot to get your loved one up, dressed, and out the door. Get them physically ready, but then to get your mind, okay, we're going to do this. And then for someone to shoot that down by saying you're being disruptive. Oh, I don't think so. So yeah, the You Belong Foundation, we do things like that. We bring the community together with different disabilities. All the wheelchairs we can fit in the movie theater or the space that we're having. The parents get to meet each other because it's an isolating space. You're by yourself because you're going to appointments. You're trying to figure out the day. You're trying to maybe cook dinner. I got to clean up. Maybe I could get a shower today. So I want to bring parents together who understand the journey. The
Yes.
diagnosis is never the same. I've never met anyone who had pneumococcal meningitis. But I can have a conversation with you as a teacher of autistic kids, and we're going to have mirroring stories somewhere. Or you're going to think of a parent like, yeah, I had a parent like that. So to share those stories and to share it with each other is important because it brings us together, but it also brings awareness to people who haven't had the blessing of being around someone with a disability.
Yes, and I also believe it really strengthens, your own sense of knowing and understanding, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not the only one going through this.
Yeah.
And, ask another parent, have you seen this? Have you done
Yeah.
this? And just a supporting community because,
Yeah.
I remember like there's you need a lot of strength to keep
Yes.
going every day,
Yes.
but when there's a purpose behind it, when there's a beautiful mission behind it,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you're meant to be put out there to get all the help that you need because
Yeah.
it's not just for you,
It's
right?
not.
This mission that you do, you created
Yeah.
from your first daughter, Paige, it wasn't just for you.
No.
And so I believe that, people like myself who will meet you for the first time and say, wait a minute, Wendy's doing something that's going to impact this world.
Yeah.
And people need to hear it. People need to hear it.
That's the
So,
prayer. Just one person at a time. Just like I said, sometimes just being a listening ear,
yeah,
it makes like you don't feel by yourself. Like you're not going through this by yourself. You're not.
right. You're right. And, I personally, I want to ask you for your own growth, like what has it done for you? Because you're taking the eyes off of you
Mm-hmm.
and you're putting your eyes to a wider angle, right? You're looking at as a whole the community of
Mm-hmm.
for parents who have kids with disability.
Yes.
How's it changed your life? Because this
Mm.
is a growing process, right? And
Yes.
so you have grown to be more than what you were when you first started.
100%.
Tell us.
100%. I'm a I jokingly, but it's true. I'm a little super shy Black girl from the inner city of Chicago. To be in a room full of people, I was in a corner. You couldn't hear me. And I grew out of it a lot, but still, when I had the kids, I was like, I got to talk to these doctors, because they have letters behind their names and they have their medical things on and they're talking this language that I don't understand. I have to
Mhm.
make them understand that they need to say it in a way that I understand it. And the growth came because innately, I don't want the spotlight on me anyway. I want the spotlight on this amazing and beautiful, filled with love and joy community. And if
Yeah.
it takes my voice to open someone's eyes to someone, it's funny, most people that I meet or talk to, like when you and I met, I'll say, do you know someone with a disability? And sometimes very quickly, no. And then I'll think, wait, yes. Okay, what have you said to them recently? Have you just reached out to say hi? We don't have to talk special needs every time you talk to me. I just want to feel like regular sometimes. Let's talk about the latest sequel or something. The
Yeah. Yeah.
fashions, how are we going to wear? Just simple things. People don't, they often shy away from someone either with a disability or who cares for someone with a disability because they don't know what to say.
Right.
Just say from the
Yeah.
heart, like you did.
Yeah.
Like I could be silly around you. Like I may not know what this long diagnosis means, but I can make you laugh, at least momentarily, and make you feel better about the space you're in because that space is not going anywhere. And for you to have joy while being in that space makes it much better to be in. It's not only for you, but it's for that person you're caring for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so true because we're not really different. We're not different.
We're not
Right?
different.
We're made of the same stuff. And
Yes.
when you can understand that, you become less judgmental. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't do judgment.
no,
I think
no, absolutely not.
everyone is beautiful. Just some people either never knew their own beauty. And I don't mean physical beauty. I mean the person.
Inner beauty. Yes.
Yes. They
Yes.
may have something may have happened and they've
Right.
hidden it, but I look at everyone like and I ask God, what can I do to make this person feel
Yeah.
special? And that's my goal. When people leave my space, whatever it is, I ask God, I want them to leave better than when they arrive. And so that's always my goal. I don't have time to judge. Honey, I got my own stuff.
Takes too much energy to judge,
Yeah, it's
right?
too
And it
much.
doesn't take much energy to say, I love your dress.
Yes, yes.
Your
If
hair
we could
looks
have
great
more of that.
today,
If we could have
right?
more of that. Yes.
If we can have more of that, of
Yeah.
course,
I love your smile.
something
I
is
have
said
said
to
that
that.
to someone with a disability who had few teeth, but it made them happy to hear that. And I meant it when I said it, because the smile is not just the physicality of the smile, the mouth move. It's the joy that comes from behind it.
And what comes back to you when you do
Oh,
that, right?
yes.
Let's not even talk about that
You
because
can't even measure it.
exactly. Oh,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, when we're in a place where, and I know this works 100%, when you're in a place where you feel like you're the only one and you're alone, go to these communities
Yeah.
and volunteer, and you watch the joy that you get
Man.
from just watching the smiles, seeing the
Yeah.
smiles, right? And the
Yeah.
laughter, because it really, it's like a ball bouncing back.
It is. It really is.
Sure. And you feel it right in
You
the heart,
do. You get
right?
I say it jokingly, but you get over yourself.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
person, I had an interview earlier with a young man who's in a wheelchair, and every time I see him, he's smiling. And
Hmm.
I'm on his show, and I'm like, you want me on your show? But he has a joy about him. And what a blessing it is to be around someone. This man is in a wheelchair, and he's all around the neighborhood with his dog. And I'm sitting here like, rain. I've seen him in the rain. Like, he is out there. He is showing up for life every day, and he's in a wheelchair. What do I have to complain about? Nothing.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, what complaints can we
None.
possibly have? And
None.
here you go saying it.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to come back. And I love to hear, like, what kind of change are you most passionate about
Okay.
with the You Belong Foundation? We'll be right back,
Okay.
everyone. Yeah, here we go. So yes, so let's talk about the foundation, because I know it really is. It's so meaningful, so needed. Um, y- you're not in New York, but
No, I got to get to New York one day. It's going to happen.
come to New York because we also have the one of the biggest school population here in.
Mm,
But let's talk about that, because I want this message to get as out as possible to
yeah.
every school area district. But tell us, what is the most important change that you have seen since you started the You Belong Foundation?
The community connecting.
Mm,
I You know how you start something? I had no idea. I had no blueprint as to what to do. I didn't know how to start a nonprofit. But I just said, Lord, I just, lead me to what is needed. And we started with, like I said, the Page Awards had already been going on. I'm like,
yeah,
that's once a year though. We got to do stuff throughout the year. And I just thought about my journey when I was divorced from the kid's dad and single. I was 12 years single. What did I go through? And what do I not want someone else to go through? And people would always say, Wendy, you should go and do a group. I don't have time for a group. I barely have, God help me, if I have time to take a shower, it's a win for the day. And
yeah,
so when we started with little things. Like, I knew I wanted to do the movie day. I had moms get together monthly. At first, it started with moms of kids with disabilities, but I said that's taking away the awareness. So then I included all moms, because you need to learn. And
right,
just real talk, a mom of a typical child is more likely to be able to help you than
yeah,
another mom with a child with a disability. And just hearing the stories and the connections that were being made. Like somebody would say, oh, so and so had something at our home and we went over. Good. You don't need me. Once you connect, you're forever connected. You're part of the family.
Right.
And so the connection, and each year with the Page Awards, we have people who've been coming since day one, and it's expanding. And we strategically place people. You know what I mean? People who have foundations and people who may need that foundation.
Beautiful.
And we see those connections happening. And for the parent, the tired, run down, ready to give up, and whatever that way that means parent, you see a light, just a little spark. And then they start to breathe differently. Because, honey, your child can go running. And if you go catch them, you're fine. But no one's going to look at you weird. No one is going to, do that heavy sigh like you're getting on their nerves. This is a place where you are welcome. This is a place of love. And that's all anybody needs. It's the feel love. And that's what they feel at the Page Awards. And we fed families for Thanksgiving a full cooked meal. Because I could give you money to go to the grocery store. And you're like, when do I have time? I don't have time. I don't feel like cooking. So you get a fully cooked meal delivered to you so you can enjoy that time with your family. Right? It's just the little things that I was thinking of. You're not by yourself. Yes, you can find love with a special needs. I had 2 special needs kids when I met my current husband, James. I swore no one would ever sign up for that. So for me, I always want to be that example of what can be.
Oh, I love that.
Which pushes me to always show up. Like I may not feel like showing up, but Lord, I know somebody is in that room that needs me. And whatever I can do to help them. I will rest later. I will pray later. I will meditate and work on me. I'm always taking care of myself, but I know that there are people out there and they're thirsty because no one out there is telling them that they're special, that they're wonderful, that they are awesome.
I love that, Wendy. You just mentioned I take care of myself, and I'm a believer now. I wasn't then, but it's important to fill up your cup first.
You have to.
So that you can take care of others.
Yeah.
I always thought.
How are you pouring out of an empty cup? How does that work? I've never seen it done.
But that's how we're raised. That's how I was raised. I was born in Italy, and it was like your family comes first, your kids come first, you come last. And how long can you do that until you get sick and you're like, oh my God, now what happens, right? And then you can't take care of yourself nor your kids. So I learned a big lesson by understanding how important it is to first take care of yourself so you can take care of your kids.
You have to. There was a time where I was not doing that. And I had 3. So I have 3 kids, right? 2 in the hospital. And then I end up in the hospital because I'm burning the candle.
Yeah.
And I said, no, we can't do this. I cannot be in the hospital negotiating with doctors like, if you let me go, let me get the kids off to school. Let me go check on this one and I'll be back. They're like, but ma'am, are you
what's happening? Yeah, exactly.
What are you saying? But yeah, it's so important to take care of yourself because for me, and I always like to be transparent. I would be resentful. Why me? I'm the only one in my family who has 2 kids with special needs, 1 kid with a disability, 1 kid who passed away. Why me? And I'm resentful because I see people with their healthy kids or bad kids running around making noise, and I want that.
Yeah.
And you have to get to a point where you're like, God gave you something special.
Your voice is a little low.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit better.
I didn't move anything. Is this better?
Now it's better.
Okay. I will use my voice. Yeah, but you can't get resentful. And again, how are you caring for someone and you're resenting them? And I had to know, take some time for yourself, whatever that is. If Christian has to lay in a bed a half hour longer, I don't have to run to him. He's okay. Take some time for me. And I teach the women because, mostly it's a woman thing, right?
Yes.
Take care of yourself. Take some time. Take that shower. Pray. Exactly. Reach out and ask for help. But fill that cup by any means necessary.
Absolutely. So if every viewer watching this show today, what would be one good thing that they can walk away with, and one truth about understanding how important it is to feel you belong no matter what?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I feel most of it is in the show up. Like we've all shown up to a space and we're just not sure if we're supposed to be here, but you're there. That's that first step. You left the house,
Yes.
you got dressed. To show up and to have the posture. They say fake it till you make it. Sometimes I like that phrase, sometimes I don't. But if you show up like I'm supposed to be, if I wasn't supposed to be here, I wouldn't have been invited. Or you know how the Lord goes, like I forgot to wake up in time. There's a flat tire. There would be a reason you wouldn't be there. There's a reason you're here on this earth and you serve a purpose. And
Love
I am a shy, introverted little girl from the inner city of Chicago. But when I take the focus off me and I
I
want
love
to show up for Giovanna and I want her show to be amazing and whatever way I can make that happen by pouring the love into her and to her audience, then that's what I'll do. The second I start thinking about me, like, does your hair look right? Is your lipstick?
right.
Then you mess up. But everyone, if you woke up this morning, you belong in whatever space you're in. And if you come into that space with this open heart of love, I want to meet one person everywhere I go. I don't need a whole group because it's a lot for me sometimes. But
Yes,
I want to
yes.
meet one person that I can connect with. It doesn't have to be about disability. It doesn't have to be about my foundation. Who are you? What do you do? When you take the focus off yourself,
Yes,
it makes that you're not nervous anymore. But you
absolutely.
belong. That's why it's purposely named the You Belong Foundation, because there's no disability. Don't be like, oh, we don't do anything with that. You will never be
And
turned
that
away.
applies to anyone. And
Yeah.
so that we can, understand, many believe, okay, I don't belong in that group because,
Mm.
they know how to ride a bike and I don't. And I truly don't know how to ride a bike, but
You don't. Oh, we got to teach you.
that's my little secret, not anymore.
Yeah.
But, it's not about that.
Right.
And in fact, when we think in those terms, and you say we don't belong, you're creating separation.
Yeah.
Right. And the truth of the
Yeah.
matter is we all came here on earth, as you mentioned,
We're here for a
with
reason.
a purpose,
Yes. Yeah.
And
I joined a
sometimes,
run group years ago. I was running and I don't run fast.
yeah,
Honey, don't chase me because you will catch me. But I loved running. And
yes,
I saw this group at the forest preserve, and a group of them, they're about to run. And I'm like, they're gonna leave me. I'm like, but I'm gonna go anyway. And my stand, I only need to meet one person. And I met one person and she was like, oh, I don't run fast either. And she was my partner. I mean, some people were gone.
yeah,
And then I've been in groups where they're like, well, I can run slow with you. It's fine. And I've done that for other people. Like, honey, if you run slower than me, we might as well just walk it out. But
that's
sometimes it's just about opening your mouth and telling your truth. I don't know how to ride a bike. I
right.
bet you 4 or 5 people, girl, I'll teach you how to ride a bike.
I'm
But we want to
sure.
keep it a secret because a lot of times we feel ashamed about things.
Oh, because society says, by this age,
You should
you
be able,
should
yeah,
know how to ride a bike.
yeah,
And I had no interest in riding a bike,
yeah,
but now it's like, okay, maybe I should. It might be fun for the summer, right?
yeah. Should if
Uh,
only if you want to. It's
that's
okay if you don't ride a bike.
That's it. And I love the story that you just mentioned, because it talks about cooperation, collaboration,
Mhm.
not competition.
No,
Because
no,
we're not here to compete.
no. I'm
We're
never
definitely not
competing
here
with
to
anybody.
compete, right? We're here to just, when you go ahead and make that connection, like you said, one of the
Mhm.
biggest things, parents making connection,
Yeah,
there is no competition.
yeah.
There is no,
No,
I have more, you have
it's
less.
too much work.
That's that's
That's a
right.
lot of work. And then
That's
you're
right.
teaching your kids. Someone is always watching you. So
Yeah.
for you to have, and I can't be competitive. Like, honey, we sit down to Scrabble, it's on, right? But it's a fun competition. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never want my son, Matthew, to say, my mother kept driving. She kept driving for things. She was knocking people out of the way. No, I'm grabbing people along the way to go on this journey with me. And if it's someone chooses not to, that's okay too. I don't feel any different. God bless you,
That's
because maybe you're supposed to attach yourself to Giovanna, not me, because we all different.
for a reason, right?
Yeah. But you get
I
so much
love
more
that.
done with the collaboration than the
Thank you.
competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I think about the foundation, what are ways that people can really help and support you on
Of
this
course we need
mission?
money. Honey, when you have a
Okay.
nonprofit, it's always money. For me, it's paying attention to your own surroundings. As you go about your day, as you go into a bank or a restaurant, as you pull into a parking space, pay attention to someone who has a wheelchair. How would they, and I do it all the time, even when my son isn't with me. How is somebody supposed to get in and out of here? And the host is around the corner at the restaurant. They have to sit there and wait for someone to open the door for them.
Yeah,
People want to have a sense of independence no matter what space they're in. Why can't you have a couple braille menus? Like, so it's about paying attention to the world around you. Don't ignore the person in the wheelchair who's limping, who has, like, my children look, you can look at them and tell they have a disability. But then you see a child losing their minds in the store and you're like, see, maybe they have a disability that you don't know about. There's a lot of invisible disabilities. So for me, yeah, money, of course, but just to start paying attention and embracing people. Can I help you? What do you need? You can be yelled at. I've been yelled from people who are angry. I don't want any help. Okay. I know I asked. I'm never going to assume that someone doesn't need my help, disabled or not. So
of
just
course.
embrace the people around you. Ask questions. Do you mind if I ask you not what's wrong with you? What's your diagnosis? What caused you to be in this wheelchair? What can
Mm,
someone like me do to help? What challenges do you have day to day? We celebrated a guy years ago at the Page Awards who was in a wheelchair, and he filmed his life from that standpoint. It was powerful.
I'm
Things
sure.
we don't think about. So I just want to spread the awareness of love and inclusion with the foundation.
Beautiful. And can you share us a couple of nice stories of just happy endings?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's so many. Just for the most part, I tend to find people who, like, if I go live, somebody was, and I quit every day. I don't know why. Just sometimes just like forget it. No one's paying me any attention. But I'll have someone say like, "Oh, Giovanna saw your video, and her and I are friends, and she sent me your video, and it helped me. I don't feel like I'm by myself. I feel like I can ask a doctor a question." I had a story where he was a pediatric surgeon specializing in the spine. My daughter Paige had scoliosis. That's the S curve of the spine.
Mhm.
Serious. She had a pretty serious case of it. And he's going down, like, she needs surgery. We can do this. We can straighten it. We could do that. And I just, no, no. And he's looked at me like, who says no to what what? And I said, a couple times, I said, that's a very painful, very hard to recover from surgery. Why would I put her through that? And you just said it could curve back. But and I said, this is what I understand. I understand that you went to school. Your livelihood is surgery. I said, do you have children? And he said, yes. Girl, thank God, because I don't know how the story would have went had he said no. But I
Mm.
said, take your daughter. If she laid, now Paige laid right there. We had to turn her to prevent bed sores. She needed oxygen, diaper, and all the things. I said, if your daughter presented the way she does, would you really put her through all of that? And you saw the light bulb come on. He goes, I wouldn't. I said, I need you to have that. I understand your job. I understand what your role is in this hospital. I need you to understand the patient individually as you go to make your recommendations. That was the biggest one for me because prayerfully, he looked at every other child differently after that and curated his advice to that person, not to what he's supposed to do. And also it gave me, it encouraged me.
But you were his greatest teacher. Do you realize that?
And I
What
thank
you've
God for
done,
that. Because all
you
I wanted to do was jump on him. I
right,
said no,
right.
right? But I said, I got to teach him because there's so many people not learning because we want to, this is a doctor. I'm just not going to say anything. No, we have to say, we have to teach them. It's called practicing.
And it's also, being real and authentic and saying, but wait a minute,
Yeah.
this is what goes on behind the scenes at
Yes.
home. You're
Yes.
just seeing him, her for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
10 minutes,
No one
but
knows your loved one, but better than you.
better than you.
Yeah.
And if you can take the time and not say, oh, and that's what you kind of did. You're like, okay, I understand you have a white robe. I understand you went to school. I respect all that. I
All
respect
day. Yes.
who you are.
Yes.
But let me share you my individual
Right.
story because I'm not a statistic.
Right.
I'm not part of that group that gave
Yeah.
you the understanding of this is what my child is like.
Yeah.
I want to paint the picture for you how
Yeah.
unique my situation is. And
Yeah.
and again, you open up the doors for him to
Yeah.
now look at every patient in a unique way.
Yeah.
And I know for a special education teacher, it was like there's not one child the same.
Right.
Whether
You can
they're
have the same
disability,
diagnosis, but they're like
and
people.
yeah, there's not one child the same.
Right.
And I also remember the requirement, but teaching, you know, low level, middle level, high level kids so that the high levels don't feel bored, the
Right.
low levels don't feel like it's too much,
Yeah.
right? So it's really taking consideration, and I believe this applies to anyone and anything, is
Yes.
that when you're speaking to a person, you need to consider where are they, come to their level.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier before how you wanted to hear the results and or what you can do for your child at your level,
Right.
not the scientific level, because
Right.
you can't relate to that, right? But you
Right.
can relate to, okay, maybe do this 3 times a day, whatever the,
Hmm.
recommendations are, so
Yeah.
that you can feel more at ease, that you
Yes.
understand, and that brings more empowerment to you
It does. And
versus
sometimes you'll get a no. You have some people who are, this is what I do, and this is what I'm telling you needs to be done. And that's okay too. Let me leave. Let me gather up my child and my things so that you can come to someone. Someone else is going to listen to you. And God bless. And I pray that it's the right decision for them. But honey, I'm never going to agree. You can stand there tall and posture yourself and deepen your voice. And I'm not going, this child, I'm responsible for this child. I
mm,
have to go home with this child and I have to live with myself with the decisions that I make. And I have to make the decision that I think is best for this child. So God, and we won't be back because I switch a doctor. We won't be back.
that is so powerful. Can I tell you how much I want to just really, bring that to light?
Mhm.
Because it's when we use our voice
Yes.
where we're heard,
Mhm.
and then we can say, okay, I feel comfortable with the decision I made. Like
Yes.
there's no going back and second guessing. There's no kicking yourself and saying, I should have,
Right.
could have, would have.
Right.
It's you're taking ownership. And I believe, I see as part of you belong, it's it's under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Right? You belong to speak up. You belong to be heard.
Yes.
You
Yes.
belong in such a bigger way to understand that you are part of this world, and what
Man,
you say is important.
it is. And you don't have to be loud. You don't have to scream. As you hear, I don't have a loud voice.
No, you have a
But I
beautiful
make I
voice.
make sure, thank you. I make sure that I'm heard. I will speak lower actually because now you have to tap in to hear what I'm saying. You have to stop all the busyness around you and in your head to listen. But the voice in your story, they're powerful. They will move mountains. They will change lives. and I've seen it happen. Just someone like you really you're listening to me. You're not like waiting.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell when somebody's just waiting, just jump in the conversation. Someone's really just listening to me. Someone is understanding my journey. I may not understand autism, but I think they're all beautiful, and I treat
And
them as
it's,
such.
yes, I love that. And it's not the condition, it's not the
Yeah,
disability that you need to understand.
exactly, and that's what people
You-
think they have to do, which is why they ignore you or
Right.
they say crazy things. You don't have to understand nothing. Honey, on a
No.
good day, I could spell pneumococcal meningitis. But what I know is that my
Yeah.
daughter represented a strength and a love and a power, a silent strength that I
Yes.
gleaned from.
And I do believe in my heart that children that are born with disabilities, they are here to teach us some
Ooh,
real life lessons.
ooh, some real lessons.
And if
Jesus.
you, right?
Oh,
And if you are not learning from them, I highly
yeah,
recommend, because they're so powerful, some of the lessons, and they are so unexpected at times,
yeah.
right?
Those are
That
the
you're
deep
like,
ones. You're like, ooh, I got it.
I got it, right?
Yeah.
And so it really transforms your inner
Hmm.
um, belief on what's possible.
Yeah.
You turn the I can't
Oh,
to I can.
yeah. Why not? Yes, you can. We just have to figure out a way for you to do it.
That's
Christian
right.
is 21. He's like a 9-month-old,
Hmm.
but he has the joy. He can be in the hospital, and thank God he hasn't been in the hospital in a long time, but he has a joy. And if I wake up in whatever mood or something has happened, I will look at him and be like, you know what? You're fine. This child is smiling through the diaper, honey. If you can imagine a 21-year-old, he is smiling. So what problems do I have? I don't have any. He's heavy. He flirts. Giovanni, if you ever meet him, he is going to turn on all the dimples.
Yeah.
But he has such a joy, and God's blessing just oozes out of him when you're in his space. So you can't help but to feel some joy and have some of your own when you leave his space.
The best medicine.
It
It's the
is.
best medicine,
It
right?
is.
You can either look at it as, the worst thing in the world or the best thing in the world, because it shaped who you are today,
It is. Yeah. My
right?
kids shaped me. All three
And
of
so,
them.
but the role that you have embraced is changing lives, even though
Such a blessing.
and you're doing it with an open heart.
Hmm.
Like, I know there's many parents out there that just say, I can't take this anymore. Like, I don't have the strength.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can take them by the hand,
Yes.
sit with them and say, wait a minute,
Yeah.
don't forget why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Don't forget that God gave you this because you can handle it.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's making you
You
stronger and
have hard
stronger.
days. You have days you're just like,
Yes.
I could just schedule a flight. I can't.
Yeah.
And then you look at that face and you're like, this
Right.
person needs me. And I'm going to show up every time for this child. But yeah,
Right.
it's hard. Don't feel bad if you feel mad, upset, depressed. It happens. It happens in
Yes.
life as well.
Absolutely. Of course. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's not the disability that makes this happen.
Right. Right.
It's our life and how we handle it.
Yes.
And, I do believe that it's through you're tested in life. We all
Yeah.
go through tests in life. So
Yes. But what
it's,
is their test though? Once you get through the test, what is it? Your
yes,
testimony. You
that's
can't
right.
have a testimony without a test.
Absolutely. So beautiful.
Yeah, tell your story. It's
And
yeah.
that's what this platform is about, is, what, someone's going to hear you today, Wendy, and I know they're going to go out like, I was not the only one.
Right.
I was not the only one. And
That's the
the way,
goal.
that's right. And so when we know that we're here to really help each other to grow,
Hmm.
this is how it is, right?
Yeah.
It's coming together. And whether you are a parent, an educator, a leader, helping others, because leaders make leaders,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Leaders
Yeah.
take people, like you said before, you take them with you,
Yes.
to let them know that you're not alone. Together we can
We got
make this world a
this.
better place.
Yes, we
Right?
have this.
In the future generation who see you do this work.
Mm,
And I'm sure, there's parents who also have siblings who may not have an issue, and they're learning so much.
yeah.
They're becoming the advocate
Yes.
for their brother and sister.
Yes.
And they're
That's
the
a whole
future.
nother thing, right?
Yes.
Matthew was in the middle of two special needs kids. So
Mm,
his story in and of itself is powerful for other siblings, other family members. How did you manage to grow up being an only child, but you weren't? Because you didn't have siblings that could play with you and talk to you and get in
right.
trouble with. You get in trouble by yourself.
Right, right, right,
So yeah,
right.
everyone, even if you don't know someone with a disability, just to have the heart to listen to someone else's story, you don't have to go looking. You can go on YouTube, find someone with a disability. Victor Vujicic, he was born with no limbs.
That's right. Talk about that because I saw you did have a post that you met him.
Oh my
And
goodness. I met a whole rock star that day. I was sweating and nervous. I just had to meet him because
yeah,
he goes around the world speaking
yes.
to people. He spreads God's word, but I'm looking at him on this platform. He getting to the edge, girl, and I'm just like, Lord, don't let him fall. He needs someone to pick him up and carry him. But the joy that he has and the fact that we had a chance to spend some time with him. What am I complaining about?
Right,
If
right.
you look anywhere, I mean, we live in a world of social media. If you look anywhere, my whole algorithm is special needs. I see new people every day, bodybuilders in wheelchairs, lifting them and the wheelchair. I'm like, honey, I can't lift myself. So Jesus, so just
Yeah.
try to learn the world around you. Meet people who don't look like you, who don't act like you, who don't even believe the same as you do. Get to know these different people and it changes your perspective. And in the meantime, how
Yeah.
about you get a little growth out of that? That's the
That's right.
beauty of it. We're all here for each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the meaning of life, right? The meaning of life is not
Yes.
just sit back, relax, and watch the sky go by. It's
Right.
get involved,
Yes.
see what's out there where you can really contribute, because
Yes.
our contribution to this, like, if you're not contributing to the world, you are feeling unfulfilled. Doesn't
Yes.
matter how much money you have in the bank, doesn't
No.
matter where you come from. If you're all about yourself, I truly feel that, you'll always feel there's something missing in life.
Always.
And this is the part that's missing. It's to get involved,
Yeah.
to really make an impact in this world. Like, you came on this earth, you won, you got the chance to come
Right. Yeah.
on this earth, and it's
Man.
to share your gifts.
And it's a blessing. It's a
It is.
blessing. Even if you don't know your gifts, the more people you allow yourself to be around, the more they're revealed. You
Absolutely.
will have a gift and it can serve somebody. We can serve somebody. And you don't have to serve the masses. You can just serve one person and it gets paid forward.
That's how
And
it works.
that's the way like I said, honey, you put me in a room full of people now. I'm gonna seem like I'm okay, but I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of people in here.
That you said you take your eyes off of you
Yeah. Take my
and
eyes off me.
put
And
your
I'm like,
eyes on
Lord, you know who's in this room and you know my story. Whoever I need to meet. Giovanni, you and I were in a room full of people. Somehow we migrated to each other. And I
them.
said, Lord, that's my one person today. And what a blessing you've been.
Oh, likewise, likewise.
Thank you.
It's people like you that I know are making such a difference.
Yeah.
And right. And so, I have actually a sign on the wall that says, let your smile change the world, but don't let the world change your smile.
Wait,
Okay.
they didn't hear you, girl. Say it again.
So let your smile change the world, but don't let the world change your smile.
Oh, I'm going to
When
steal
you
that.
bring that to the world, if
Yeah.
your heart doesn't open up, you
Oh,
need to go to sleep and wake up again because,
yes. That's
that's what we're here
powerful.
to do. That's what we're
Yeah.
here to do. We're changing the world so that we can, bring more joy.
Yeah.
And the
That's what
joy
it's
comes,
about.
yes. Wendy, we're going to take it down for a landing. Any last words you'd like to
Girl,
share?
it has been an hour. Wow.
It has.
What a
And you're
pleasure it
having
is.
fun. That's right.
Yeah, what a pleasure it has been just to get to know you. I love what you do with your platform. You put yourself out there because you know it's touching people's lives. And that's what I want to leave people with. Who can you touch? It doesn't have to be disability. It doesn't have to be kids. It has to be serving.
That's it.
Go serve the homeless. You get a different perspective when you sit down and throw away half that meal. Right? Find someone who's lost a child and talk to them. And then it doesn't matter what your kids do. They're there and you hug them and you hug them hard and you love them hard and you let them know that you love them. So there's something for everyone. So find your something.
I love that. I love that.
And follow us on social media. We're always doing something.
Absolutely. And please go to the website, the You Belong Foundation. They're doing great things. They're really impacting this world with love, And when we do that, the world gets to be a better place for all of us. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm your host, Giovanna Torreon. Wendy, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're a blessing. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to